I'm also the owner of Ritz Renovation, and I'm also a lawyer. I'm the owner of the Silnick Law Firm. I like to read a lot of books, especially professional development ones like How to Win Friends, Atomic Habits, Think and Grow Rich. I'm writing my own book, Don't Mess With My Process. So at my first meeting early last year, I met John Kaskalvaciyan, the man with tools, and he gave me a copy of this book, The 7 Secrets, and it changed my life. Because I like to read, I read it quickly, and I was like, oh yeah, this stuff is good. So I went to the Qualified Remodelers Top 500 Live, which is like a Fortune 500 or Inc. 500, it's the top 500 companies in industry. I went to Las Vegas and I got to meet the author there. The author also does his own event called Accelerate, so I went to that this year in Orlando, Florida. John Kaskalvaciyan was at both of them. And I'm also going on the next Accelerate, which is in February of 2025. And tickets are still available, so if anybody wants to join us, you're more than welcome. So I've learned in law school the best way to learn something is to teach someone else. Okay. This is some photos of us. We were having dinner. Jonathan Weinberg is there on the far right. He's the owner of Builder Prime. He's a member. He had a nice dinner. John Kaskalvaciyan, you can see him there. John Kaskalvaciyan was up on stage with Brian K. They were talking about the Mastermind program, which John's a member of. That's me and Brian in Las Vegas when I met him. That's the 7 Secrets, the book. This is kind of what the event looks like, and these were all the speakers that were there. So Brian Kaskalvaciyan, he's Armenian. His last name is tougher than mine. So he started a couple of businesses back in the 90s. He was in the home improvement space, but he explains that he really wasn't making any money. So he started a handyman network in 2000, grew to over 100 trucks and 30 franchise locations. So he became very big. He had a lot of revenue, but again, he wasn't making any money. That's when he finally started G4 Marketing with his wife Addie in 2009. And that's where basically it's marketing for contractors and home and service professionals. He helps people get 5-star reviews, referrals, things of that sort. So he started this program called The Wealthy Contractor, and the podcast started in 2016. It has over 200 episodes. I've listened to most of them. It's a game changer. So if you haven't listened to the podcast and you want to grow, there's so much information. He does 2 events now. One is Accelerate, and one is the Profit Workshop. John Kaskalvaciyan, he's on the Wealthy Contractor website. I took this right off of there. And John says, when I attended my first Accelerate in 2019, we were doing maybe $800,000. And if there was a net profit, it was less than 5%. I heard all of these smart, wealthy contractors on stage, and I was just in awe. I took everything I learned, I went back, and within 30 days, I implemented it. And we've doubled our business each year. 3 years later, we surpassed $5 million in revenue with a 20% net profit. He appeared on the show 3 times. If anybody, to go back for a second, Sean, the episode numbers are on the bottom. If anybody actually wants to go and listen, I mean, it's really good. All right, next. So, now we get into the book. So who is the wealthy contractor? And Brian K. explains it's you, it's all of us. The wealthy contractor is about living a life of abundance and wealth in all areas of your life. It's about being the best version of you. The wealthy contractor community, and it is a community because I went there and you really get to feel like it's a community. And he's got such a big following. And there's like some really, really successful companies there and business owners. And they're so encouraging and welcoming, and they're forthcoming, and they help you, they'll give back because they're paying it forward, and they know that you're only as strong as your network, and you don't know what you don't know. And so how do you find out more? You talk to people that know stuff. The Wealthy Contractor community is a place where it's okay for you to want it all. It's not only okay, but it's encouraged. And if you listen to Brian, you'll hear him saying that all the time. Success leaves clues. So he says one of the greatest shortcuts to success is to simply study the habits of the most successful people you can find and model their thinking, habits, and actions. The secrets are not really secrets, right? They're time-tested principles, and you already use them every day in your life. But once you understand them and you really become aware of them, you can look at your life, your thinking, your habits, and your actions, and easily determine whether you're using them well or poorly. So why do we all go into business? And he says there's usually these 4 freedoms that they might all apply to you, maybe just one. So freedom of time. You want to spend your time in your working life doing something you love. You also want to have freedom and time to not work, to do stuff when you're not working. Freedom of money. You don't want a ceiling on how much money you can make. And if you do make money, you don't want anyone to tell you what you can do with it. Freedom of relationship. There's certain people you love working with, and certain people you don't like working with. Some people like to work alone. Some people like to work in a group. Figure out what it is, and surround yourself with the people you click with. And maybe that's why you went into business. Or freedom of purpose. So maybe you have a passion, or this company, it's not just a job or career. It's a vehicle that can get you to all sorts of things in life that outside of business. And maybe that's why you went into business. So he has this worksheet that I put up. We don't have to spend any time and go through it, but just so you can see it, it's on his resources. You can get it for free. Why does your business exist? And then you can reverse engineer it. You put down what you're trying to get annual profit. That's a percentage of your annual gross sales. Figure out how many days you want off. And you can do the math. Next, please. So this book is not about making leads. It's not about closing techniques, how to price jobs, how to manage employees. Those are all skill sets that can be learned. Some of us have them naturally, and some of us need to learn them. This book's really about the difference between a struggling owner and a successful business owner. And it all starts here. It's a mindset. And that's what my book's about too. It's mindset, people, and habits. Because I realized that everything starts in your mind. Then the next thing is you have to surround yourself with like-minded people, because you're only as strong as your network. And then you get into really good habits. Cut out the bad habits and instill new ones. So this book's all about mindset. So as you hear the secrets or you go through them, try not to judge them or cast them aside too quickly. Don't say they're not part of my personality, they're not part of my makeup, maybe you've heard it before. So he says, if you've heard the strategy before, say, yes, I've heard that before. But am I using it? And if you're not using it, why not? And if you're currently using the strategy, you can ask yourself, well, how effective am I at using it? How can I improve on it? So secret number 1, that was all introduction. This is the actual secret. So secret number 1 is the wealthy contractor knows what he or she wants and reverse engineers it to get their business to deliver those results. So it's really just seeking clarity. And mindset is really knowing where you want to go and having a roadmap to get there. So Brian K's motto is, my business exists solely to satisfy my needs, to fund my lifestyle, and to give me the ability to live the life I want to live. So not only do you have to be clear on what will make you happy, you have to be very clear about why, which is your purpose. So why do you want X dollars? Why do you want to live in that house? Why do you want to take X weeks of vacation? And he explains that there's nothing wrong with wanting what you want, but you do have to want it really, really bad. And I remember that from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. He calls it a burning desire. Here's another worksheet. Again, we're not going to go through this together, but you can kind of see how it works. Is your top 3 reasons. Figure out what you need, your net profit, to live for the year, so you can have the life that you want. Divided by total sales required, how many salespeople, and you can kind of figure out how many leads you need, or how many. We can do a whole class just on this. That's why I don't want to really cover this, because this is not really part of the secret. This is more of a skill set, which is learnable. It's like pricing. Okay? Next, please. So in order to pull off the reverse engineering, he explains you have to have a solid profit model. You'll have a much better understanding of the size of the company you'll need. Once you have that profit model, you'll understand how big the company needs to be. So if you're looking to make $250,000 a year, you don't need a $5 million company. You don't need a $10 million company. You can achieve that with a $1 million company, or maybe a $2 million company. Depending on what your costs are and what your payroll is, it all boils down to your net profit. So if you're running a 20% net profit, you could make 200 grand on $1 million. Plus you have your salary, right? So you don't need a $5 million company necessarily. Unless, again, you have bigger goals and you need something and you need it for that reason. So don't focus on how much you sell, focus on how much you keep. So there's a proven formula for running home improvement companies, and if you aren't making a minimum of 10%, ideally 15 to 20% after everything and everyone is paid, including yourself, you have to take a salary. If you're running the business, you should get a salary. And as the owner of the business, you should get net profit as well. You're not working just for the net profit. Imagine you had to pay someone else to run your company or to work in your company. So you get a salary for working. And you have to build in your net profit on top of that. Remember, just selling more doesn't automatically make you profitable. You have to have a good profit model, which translates into 10 or 20 or 30% profit. So just because you sold more and more and more, you could still be making nothing at the end of the day. How much money, so he goes through 9 questions. We don't have to answer them. I'm just going to show you what the questions are. And so he says, specifically, how much money do you need to live your ideal lifestyle? And think about your ideal lifestyle. How much will it cost? So your home, your cars, your travel, your fun, your education, investments, and tithing, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. I didn't know what that was. I had to look it up. This is donations and charitable donations. So I donate. We should all donate because whatever you give comes back 10 times. So how much total wealth? A specific number. So not just, I want to be rich or I want to be wealthy. Specifically, how much money do you want by the end of the year? In 3 years and in 10 years? And then by writing it down, it's powerful because you're manifesting it. You're putting it out into the universe and you're making it real. Are you in the relationships you want to be in? Personally and professionally? And if not, what needs to change? If you had total control over your time, what would you do differently than you're doing today? Good questions, right? Get you thinking. I highly recommend you sit down, take an hour, and answer these questions. Write them down. And then look back at them. Like I read this book early last year. I have my answers written down. And to do this presentation, I'm rereading the book. So I'm seeing my notes and my answers of what I answered a year and a half ago. It's really cool. What are your goals outside of business? And are you working toward them? So one of my goals, besides just running my business, is writing a book. So I'm working on it. I'm working on becoming a speaker. Here I am, speaking, right? I'm surrounding myself with the people I want to be like. So what are you doing outside of business? How much time away? By the way, I also travel a lot. Everyone knows that. Maybe Frank joked about earlier. I travel a lot. My kid knows. We go all over the place. I do a lot of stuff outside of work. But I couldn't afford to do those things if the business wasn't providing me with the wherewithal to do it. 1, the time. 2, the money. How much time away from your business do you want to pursue your life's interests? So do you want 4 weeks off a year? Do you want 6 months off per year? How much time off do you get? What do you want for your family? I think everyone has the same answer here. Everything? But get specific. Not just everything. Specifically, what do you want for them? What type of education? What type of clothing? What type of vacations are you giving them? What type of environment are they growing up in? Are you around to even be with them, or are you too busy working? So what type of life are you giving your family? Do you want a new car, home, boat? And if so, describe them in detail. Like I have a wish board. I literally have the house that I want, printed, I took a color photo, laminated it, put it up. I took a picture of the boat that I wanted, laminated it, put it up. I got the cars, I got the watches, all the stuff I want. I took the time, I printed it, laminated it, and it's in there. It's up on the wall. So if you don't have one, have a wish wall, or whatever that thing's called. Bonus question. If you got a check today for $10 million, tax-free, it's a lot of money, $10 million. What would you do tomorrow? So, did you answer these questions from what you thought was possible for you today, or from what you really, really want? Did you answer from a place of faith or a place of fear? The size of your success is only limited by the size of your thinking. So we usually discount our own thoughts. We only ask the universe for what we think that is reasonable or what we can attain. But what do you really want? So he says, right now, you might not believe you can do it. But we're only at the first secret and have a long way to go. Each secret builds upon the next. And at this point, it's absolutely critical for you to identify what you really, really want. So now go back and answer those questions again, but for real this time.